Painting patterns makes my brain feel positively peaceful, and so does pottery. And recently I've been obsessed with making these mugs with this texture on them. There's something so satisfying about it. Plus, I like how it feels in your hand because there's some texture and a little bit of grip to it. And I want to recreate that pattern in watercolor. And I think the best way to do this is going to be masking off all the high points of this pattern. As a side note, I've been testing out this new fine line masking fluid. I like the masking fluid. The tip on it did fail me a bit because I think that tube is a little bit too long. And so it ends up drying in there and clogging it constantly. The good news is though, I happen to have some of these replacement nibs from something else I use. So I put a shorter one in there and it works a lot better. And this pattern is mainly elongated blobs that have a little bit of some angular parts at the top and the bottom. So the way I'd recommend doing this is starting with a couple of them and then build onto them. Where they don't quite meet up, make a smaller one, make some of them wider, make some of them longer. The shapes don't have to make a ton of sense. They just all need to kind of fit together. So make them however you want them to. Once you have the page filled up, don't try to speed up the heating on this. We do just need to set this to the side and let it dry on its own. You'll be able to tell when it's dry once it's kind of turned a little bit translucent. Most of them go from kind of a milky color into a more clear color. Then grab your watercolors and give them a spritz. I'm going to use this set because I want some of these colors and I have a ton of them left over, and that way I don't have to mix them up. Then fill up your brush with whatever colors that you want. And once the masking fluid is dry, you can paint directly over it because the masking fluid protects the white paper underneath it. So you don't have to be careful because once it's dry, you can peel it off and it'll be right there. And then once again, we have to let this dry on its own. We don't want to heat up that masking fluid. It can actually adhere it to the paper or even kind of bubble it up, and it's not great. Every masking fluid seems to come off a little bit different. This newer one works best with just a cotton cloth, and then light pressure and small circles. I love how removing the masking fluid makes all those little pieces pop. You should try this one. And if you don't have masking fluid, you can still do this. Just use something like a white crayon, or you could use white acrylic that you let dry completely, or you could use a white gel pen at the very end, or you could use a waterproof pen beforehand or a non-waterproof pen afterwards. But the point is, you should try this because maybe painting patterns will make your brain happy too.